What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into episode 146, everybody. I am your host, SleezBall. Today's episode will be my tight ends, start 'em, sit 'em for every single matchup here in Week 11. I'll have a green bar, a yellow bar, and a red bar for starts, sits, and possible starts for yellow. Before we dive into it, guys, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you smash that subscription. Turn that bell on. I will be live tonight, 2 hours before kickoff, taking every single question you guys have. And if you could not make the live stream, you could always drop any question you want down below in the comments. One of my goals as a content creator is to answer every single question you guys have, help you get that weekly win and get you that ultimate goal of a championship. And we are close to the playoffs, guys. You could also check out my defense, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. All those rankings are out for you guys before the Thursday night kickoff. I'm going to try and get my quarterback, start-em, sit-ems here, and possible running back, wide receivers here. It's going to be a busy day, but I will try to get that out to you guys. Let's dive into my tight ends here for Week 11. So if you are new to the channel, this is my tight end board for start-em, sit-ems. The top team is the away team. The bottom team is the home team. And I always like to throw a shout out to my guy, co-host of my show, Big Trap Energy, who does tons of research behind the scenes for me that helps me out with my videos, information that you guys need to take down as well here. So before we dive into the Thursday night game tonight, the monster game of the Commanders versus the Eagles, huge implications on the line for playoffs, top seed, everything here tonight. We're going to look at these tweets that he throws up right here. So make sure you smash him a follow on his Twitter. It is Big Draft Energy, and it's also Big Draft Energy on YouTube. Or Big Drafters Headquarters. You can search either one on Twitter and find out. This is going to be the tight ends for Week 11 with the most advantageous matchups for receiving touchdowns. So they're the top 10 defenses in fantasy football to give up the most touchdowns to the tight end position. So at the top, you can see why I like Will Dissly so much this week. Cincinnati Bengals give up the most. So this is where you take a picture with your phone, screenshot it on your PC, whatever you want here. Take these pictures down. We're going to look at one more here as well. This is going to be the tight ends with the most advantageous matchups for receiving yards, which is why you can see in all my videos throughout the week that I like Dalton Kincaid so much versus the Kansas City Chiefs if he's out there healthy. And if he's not, I love Dawson Knox as well. So grab these pictures, guys. Make sure you smash my guy a follow. I will have both his links in the description as well. And we will be live tonight. I'll be live for 2 hours on my show and then leading right into his show tonight as well. So you're going to get tons of fantasy football content from us tonight. Make sure you check those out, guys. My guy does amazing work. Now, heading into the Thursday night game here, I am going to go with a sea of red game here for both tight ends in this game. So Zach Ertz going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. This is not the matchup you want as a tight end. It's not going to be pretty here. This is not going to be a Zach Ertz game. You always have a chance of a touchdown with a tight end that's out there with the timeshare that he has, or the snap share that he has. But when you're going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, this is the number 4 defense versus the tight end currently. They only give up 7.9 points per game. They are number 1 on the season in total points allowed to the tight end, and they are number 4 in the red zone. Those are top 5 metrics in all 3. And then to throw the cherry on top of that, they only allow 39 yards to the tight end position a game, which is also top 5. So when I'm looking at Zach Ertz here, I definitely do not like this matchup. I definitely do not want to start him, and I'm going to put him on a sit-em. And Benson Knott, man, I'm just waiting for him to finally get his opportunity because this is someone I've had my eye on for a while, and I hope he gets his chance here either at the end of the season or next year. So heading over to the Philadelphia Eagles side, Dallas Goedert. I don't like this here either. I know he came back in his first game, got a touchdown against Dallas. The game was a blowout. The Cowboys had nothing out there. There was nothing going. And now you get the Washington Commanders. So since the Commanders have switched to the single high, their defense elevated across the board all fantasy football season long. So the first 3 weeks of the season, they were a bottom 30 defense everywhere they went. Now, they're a top 15 versus the wide receiver, 15 versus the running back. Right now, they currently rank 14th versus the tight end, giving up 10.7. They rank 18th in the total points on the season versus the tight end, but they do rank 25th in the red zone. They give up a lot of yards for some reason to the tight end in the red zone with 3.5 points a game, but they really don't give up a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. So they only give up 0.4 there. So there's a 0.4 chance for a touchdown. I'm not looking at Dallas Goedert or Zach Ertz in this game tonight, but man, I cannot wait to see this game. The battle of the state of Texas is here. The Houston Texans are headed into the Dallas Cowboys here, and man, the Cowboys are depleted, guys. But when I'm looking at Dalton Schultz here, I am not going to want to start Dalton Schultz here in this game. So I know we just talked about Dallas Goedert and how he scored against the Cowboys last week. Is there the touchdown upside? Yes, there is. Of course, when you're playing 70% of snaps, that's always there. But Dalton Schultz has just been risky to me all year. I've avoided him all year long. He's gone 10 straight games, starting every single game with 0 touchdowns, guys. So do we think he's going to get his first one here against the Dallas Cowboys with Nico Collins back out there? I do not. I know it's Monday Night Football. You're going to have Tank Dell, most likely Tank Dell, Nico Collins show here. And when they get their wide receivers out there, you see his value drop. So he did hold a floor of like 6-7 points a game. But when you look at the beginning of the season, it was like 3 to 4 points a game. So nothing I really like here with Dalton Schultz. When you're looking at the Dallas Cowboys versus the tight end as well, they rank 11th. They give up 10.2 points. They rank 8th in the red zone, or 8th on the season in points, 15th in the red zone. So got a top 12 defense versus the tight end, and 37.9 yards, which is a top 5 in yardage that they allow per game. Micah Parsons back out there as well. It's just one of those I don't trust Dalton Schultz games here either. Now, Jake Ferguson. I mean, are we going to really see Cooper Rush pass for 45 yards again here? I still think Jake Ferguson, I'm not going to put him as a start, not going to put him as a sit. The matchup is terrible. The Houston Texans are number 1 versus the tight end. They allow 7.4. They're number 3 in total points on the season. But they do rank 24th in the red zone, and they give up a touchdown every other game to the tight end. Now, the Cowboys got to get to the freaking red zone is the first part here. But they also only give up 24 yards a game, which is number 1 to the tight end position. But CeeDee Lamb's probably going to be the focal point. He should be the security blanket across the middle. And with Cooper Rush, it was terrible. But there's a plus side because when Trey Lance came in for that little drive that he had, it was the only action that Jake Ferguson got. So there's a possibility at halftime they could make the switch to Trey Lance. They should have already made the switch either way, in my opinion. I don't know what the hell Jerry Jones is doing with the Dallas Cowboys. When you pass for 45 yards as a backup quarterback, you should not be starting the next week, in my opinion. But if you have Jake Ferguson, it's a very tough matchup. It's a terrible situation for all the Cowboys that you own, if you own any of them. So I'm still going to throw him out there because volume is king. I'm not going to say smash start, but you can throw him out there if you need to because they'll be playing from behind for the rest of the season, most likely here. And when CeeDee Lamb is your guy that's doubled, you should be open the most, or you should be another focal point for, especially if you have a backup quarterback, a security blanket. So I still like an okay start if you need it, but I don't love it and I don't hate it. And man, it sucks for the Cowboys right now. Man, this is just getting crazy here. So the Indianapolis Colts are headed in to face the New York Jets, who are trying to save their season. And this is going to be a third game where I do not have a start tight end yet. So when I'm looking at the Colts, and I know Anthony Richardson is now named the starting QB, and they don't even really have a tight end even when Flacco is out there that starts. Is there really anything to talk about here? No, there is not with the Colts. The New York Jets are also number 7 versus the tight end and number 1 in the red zone, allowing 0 touchdowns all year. I am not starting any Colts tight ends anytime soon, possibly not even here in the near future. But now when I go to the Jets side, this is another sit for me. And usually my Indianapolis Colts is my fantasy football pot of gold. So they can't stop the quarterback. They can't stop the running back. They can't stop the wide receiver. They can't even stop the tight end. They give up 15.1 points per game, which ranks 28th. They rank 30th in the red zone. And they give up 59.7 yards, which is bottom 10 as well. But since the addition of Devontae Adams, this Tyler Conklin has only seen 2 targets a game. Yes, he's out there in the snap share playing 78% snap share in both games. But do I want a tight end that's seen 2 targets? I mean, if you need a dart throw DFS play for a possible red zone touchdown, maybe. But the Jets offense has looked absolutely terrible in smash matchups the past couple weeks, and I'm not touching either tight end in this game. The 4-5 Rams are headed into Foxborough in a monster game for the NFC West standings, man. With the Arizona Cardinals being 6-4, the 49ers 5-4, Rams 4-5, Seattle 4-5. This is a big, big game here for the Rams that they need to win. But it is not going to be done with the tight end position. You can even throw Dennis Allen if you want up there too. I'm not starting him either way. So Colby Parkinson has become phased out of the offense. Allen with a couple catches here and there Nothing special for him. Tyler Higbee's still on IR. You get the New England Patriots. So the New England Patriots, I mean, I'm not going to start any of these tight ends, but I'll give you the defense breakdown for the Patriots. They rank 16th versus the tight end, 17th in the red zone, and give up 47 yards, which is middle of the pack. So it's not a plus or a minus matchup either way. It's right dead center in the middle. And I'm not starting either one of these Rams tight ends with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back. They are the focal point of this offense with Kyren Williams as well. Now, we get our first start green tight end in the video. Here we go. Hunter Henry. So not only has he become the security blanket for, Drake May, but they just had 3 absolutely brutal matchups in a row. So you have to look at it like this. They just played the New York Jets. That's a top 7 defense versus the tight end. They just played the Tennessee Titans. That's a top 5 defense versus the tight end. And they just played the Chicago Bears, which the only weak spot the Bears have is versus tight end because they have a couple injuries. And he averaged 9 points, 12 points, and 2 points. So he had a tough game versus the Bears. Obviously, they're a good defense as well. They're getting healthy, so their numbers are getting better. Now you get the Los Angeles Rams. This is the first plus smash matchup for the Patriots they've had in 3 tough games. The Rams rank 24th versus the tight end. They give up 14.1 points to the tight end position per game. They rank 24th on the season, 23rd in the red zone, and they give up 58.3 yards, which is bottom 10 there as well. And they give up a 0.7 chance for a touchdown, which is almost 1 a game. This is where the Rams really struggle is versus the tight end. I expect Hunter Henry to have a monster game here and a must-start tight end. And, he's banged up a little bit right now. You'll see a questionable tag. He's older. He's 28, 29. That usually happens. He practiced limited. He will be out there, so don't worry. But start Hunter Henry this week. Speaking of the NFC West and division big game here, the Seattle Seahawks are headed in to face my San Francisco 49ers this week. And Noah Fant, who got banged up a couple weeks ago, was supposed to be close to an IR stint. Doesn't look like he's going to be out there this week. Now, if you guys watched my sleeper video from before, A.J. Barner is a very, very interesting play this week. I know it's a very tough matchup versus the 49ers. So we'll dive into this first here. The 49ers rank 10th versus the tight end. They give up 10 points a game. They rank 8th on the season. They rank 15th in the red zone, so about a top 10, 9 to 10 defense all the way around. 37.9 yards allowed, which is also top 10 there as well. Fred Warner, cross the middle, very tough defense you're going up against. But if you watch the video that I put up before, A.J. Barner played 91% of the snaps, which was 3rd highest for the tight end position last week with Noah Fant out. I know DK Metcalf was out as well, so that will probably drop down to about 70-80% with DK Metcalf out there. But volume is still king in fantasy football. This game is at a 48.5 over-under. I mean, he still saw 7 targets last game. And again, DK will eat into that. But still, if you need a dart throw, sleeper play tight end, I'm okay with A.J. Barner. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Heading down to the 49ers, Kittle, diddle, down the middle is just the best tight end in fantasy football right now. You're starting this guy every single week. Tight end 1 on the season, and the matchup is absolutely beautiful. The Seattle Seahawks give up 12.9 points to the tight end position in the game, which ranks 22nd. They rank 21st on the season versus tight end, and they rank 28th in the red zone, guys, giving up 55.4 yards on the season, which is about, bottom 12 there as well. It doesn't matter. With CMC being back, it opens up everything for the offense. You saw Purcell thrive. You saw, Juwan Jennings thrive. And you saw Purdy scramble around and make that beautiful catch to the side of the end zone for Kittle. Absolutely amazing. You're starting George Kittle every single week. Simple as that. The 7-2 Vikings are headed down to Nashville, the country music, Tennessee Titan State. And when I'm looking at this matchup here, when you have TJ Hawkinson and you just saw what happened last week, he wasn't even really ramped up either, which is interesting enough when you're looking at his, stats for last week's game, but he still had a bigger game. So he had 15 points, right? He saw 9 targets, 8 receptions, 72 yards on only 48% or 46% snaps. The week before that, played 45% snaps. So I thought they'd ramp him up a little. They may ramp him up more in this game, but when I'm looking at TJ Hawkinson in this game, I do not love TJ Hawkinson as a start here. I don't hate it, but I definitely don't love it. So there's a couple ways you got to look at this matchup here. The Tennessee Titans, they are number 6 versus tight end, almost a top 5 defense there. They're number 19 in the red zone, so a higher touchdown upside there. They only allow 0.2 touchdowns a game, the tight end position. So every 2 of 10 games, they're getting a touchdown allowed. And 39 yards, which is also top 5 as well. Now, when you have this game script of playing the Tennessee Titans, whose season is pretty much over, did Will Levis look okay last week? Yeah, he actually did, which was impressive to me enough. But I think this is a game where the Vikings just get ahead and the Vikings just can pound the run here. And I don't see the Tennessee Titans keeping up. There's no Ladarius Sneed in this game either for them. That injury is going to be massive for Justin Jefferson to just eat. And the Tennessee Titans are very good versus the tight end. So if you need to throw TJ Hawkinson out there, he's your tight end, I'm okay with it. But I'm just saying, don't look at last week like he got 15 points. Like, oh my God, he's going to be a smash start again because he's back out there. That's not how it went. It was an aberration game versus the terrible Jacksonville Jaguars, who are a fantasy football pot of gold. This Tennessee Titans defense is very good. So temper your expectations for TJ Hawkinson this week. Tennessee Titans side, I mean, Chigga Concord, do we even really need to talk about this? Are you ever really going to start this guy? He's probably on most waiver wires. But I'll tell you, the Minnesota Vikings defense is 15th versus the tight end, 18th in the red zone. And I'm not starting Chicago anywhere. Big game here in Mile High Stadium. The 6-4 Falcons are headed in to take on the 5-5 Denver Broncos in a 44.5 over/under game here. And Kyle Pitts is going to be one of my favorite starts at tight end this week. So there's a couple ways you have to look at this. So when I'm looking at the Denver Bronco defense, yes, they are my favorite defense. Number one, probably in the NFL. If they have a weak spot, it is versus the tight end. So we'll get the numbers here first. So they rank 21st versus the tight end, giving up 11.7. They rank 13th in the red zone, so about a top 14 to 15 defense all the way around. 46 yards to position given up, which is top 15 there in the NFL as well. But you have Pat Surtain, who's going to be on Drake London. It's going to open up things for Kyle Pitts across the middle, and that is where the Denver Broncos funnel the most passes to. They are 5th in the NFL in receptions to the tight end and 4th in the NFL in passes across the middle, receptions that are in between the hashes, right? So this could be a high volume game for Kyle Pitts here, and I love him as a start this week. When I look at the Denver Broncos tight ends, does it really matter who we even put on the board? Lucas Kroll, Greg Dulcich, Adam Troutman. None of these guys are starting, but I will break down the Atlanta Falcons defense. They rank 19th versus the tight end, giving up 11 points a game, 10th in the red zone, so about a top 14 to 15 defense, and 48.2 yards, which is middle of the pack, about 15th there as well. But you're not starting any of these Denver Broncos tight ends anytime soon or in the near future here. Oh, baby. This all systems green tight end game is here, where I'm starting both of them, a monster division game between the 7-3 Baltimore Ravens, who are heading into the 7-2 Pittsburgh Steelers to take on the Steel Curtain here. And Mark Andrews is going to be a start for me the rest of the season, guys. He's literally had 5 touchdowns in his past 5 games. He is averaging about 14 to 15 fantasy points in between every single game. And I know you're going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and their defense is one of the best defenses. But if they have a weak spot, it is versus the tight end position. They rank 18th. They give up 11 points a game. They rank 21st in the red zone, giving up 2.8 points to the tight end position there as well. And they only allow 40.1 yards, which is the top 10 defense in yardage-wise. But Isaiah Likely, we don't know if he's going to be back out there yet, not practicing yet throughout the week. And he really hasn't done anything really since that week 1 game and the week 5 game against Cincy. So, yes, he is an athletic specimen tight end. But no, he is not Mark Andrews. He was never going to take this job from Mark Andrews. That was absolute crazy talk at the beginning of the season. Now, heading into the Pittsburgh Steelers side, Pat Freiermuth coming off a touchdown last week. And you're starting to see the connection grow a little bit with him and Russell Wilson, who Russell Wilson usually doesn't target his tight ends that much, throughout his career. But seeing this first touchdown drop with Russell Wilson is good to see. And you get the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens really struggle versus the pass in every single category. Versus the wide receiver, they're dead last. Versus the tight end, they're 25th. They give up 14.3 points. They do rank 9th in the red zone. So when you have a tough front 7, usually in the red zone, they stingy up. So they only give up 1.8 points there as well. But they give up, guys, 68 yards to the tight end position of the game, which is 3rd worst in the NFL. You can fire up Pat Freiermuth and Mark Andrews in this game as startable tight ends this week. The grunge battle that is going to be all systems green between the Cleveland Browns, who are 2-7, headed into the Superdome for the Saints, coming off the big win with their new head coach at 3-7. It's a 44.5 over/under, and I was even okay with the Taysom Hill play last week, and we're going to start with the Saints. I'm okay with the Taysom play here again, guys. So he had 7 points last week, played 43% of the snaps, saw receiving work, saw rushing work like he always does, but he also had a 88-yard touchdown called back. So that would have really been a nice play there. But Chris Olave's out on IR with concussions that are going crazy for him. Rashid Shaheed's season is over. Marquez Valdez-Scantling goes off. I don't see that happening much of, if any, again, which was crazy to me. And Tipton is your other wide receiver. You have Bub Memes on IR as well. So the Saints are beat up across the board. It's pretty much going to be Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill the rest of the way. Even if you get the Cleveland Browns, this is a terrible matchup still, and I'm still okay starting them. The Cleveland Browns rank 5th versus the tight end, giving up 8.6. They did just trade away Zadarius Smith, so that's going to hurt their defense as well. They're building for the future there. They rank 5th in the red zone, 5th in total points on the season, and 39 yards a game, which is top 5 as well. But you get the rushing upside. You get the possible goal line touchdown when he gets, manufactured touches down or in the red zone. So I like the Taysom Hill play here again. And I never really liked Taysom Hill. So it's always the jack of all trades, kind of, boom or bust to the max if you can. But now you're getting a little floor with him with a massive upside ceiling. So I'm okay with the Taysom Hill play again here. On to the Cleveland Browns side. David Njoku is going to win fantasy championships down the stretch of the season here again, just like last year. So since the, Mari Cooper trade has happened, he's got 23, 17, and 7 points, averaging about 10 targets a game, which is absolutely bonkers. You have Jameis Winston slinging the ball all over the place, and you're going up against the New Orleans Saints defense, who ranks 17th versus the tight end, allowing 11 points a game. They rank 8th in the red zone, so about a top 13 to 14 defense there. They do give up 56 yards, which is bottom 15, so there will be a lot of yards to be had. You're not in bad weather. You're in a dome here. And David Njoku, I don't care what the red zone numbers are. This guy's a 6'4", 250, absolutely athletic freak. And he's always due for a touchdown any single game that he's out there. And the connection with him and Jameis Winston is growing. And you can start both these tight ends this week. Sunday Night Football, the 4-6 Bengals need a monster win heading into the Los Angeles Chargers, who are 6-3 this week. And when I'm looking at Mike Gesicki, right? I had Mike Gesicki as a smash last week. It didn't happen. Of course, Tanner Hudson gets the touchdown, of course. But there is plus sides for Mike Gesicki looking forward. So he did play 71% of his snaps, the second most he played the entire season. He did have 9 targets last week. Versus the Baltimore Ravens, which I just talked about in the last matchup with the Steelers. They struggled versus the tight end, and he still didn't have a big game. Of course, he still had 7 points, 4 receptions, 30 yards to go with it. But in this game right here versus the Chargers, I do not like Mike Gesicki as a start. So, first of all, you're going to have T. Higgins most likely back out there. Volume's going to be less for him. You're going up against the LA Chargers defense, who ranks 13th versus the tight end. They rank number 2 in the red zone with a .01 touchdown rate throughout the games they've had, which means they've allowed 1 touchdown this season. I do not like Mike Gesicki to score in this game. And you even see them manufacture plays for Drew Sample, Tanner Hudson in the red zone. It's very weird what the Bengals do with their tight end sets. And this is a very, very tough defense versus the tight end against the Chargers here. Now, on to the Chargers side. This is one of my sneaky sleeper start plays here, is going to be Will Dissly. So, shockingly enough, Will Dissly, over the past 4 weeks, which has been, since the injury of Hayden Hurst, but Hayden Hurst is kind of back out there limited now. He's been the 4th most targeted tight end in fantasy football, which is what you want. You want volume. He's had 14 points, 9 points, 2 points, then 8 points. Now you get the Cincinnati Bengals, guys. This is a matchup you want for Will Dissly. The Bengals rank 30th versus the tight end, giving up 15.4 points. They rank 29th in the red zone, giving up 4.5. They give up 60 yards to the tight end position a game, which is bottom 5 in the NFL, and a touchdown every other single game to the tight end. So the connection with him and Herbert is growing, obviously, as you can see by how much he's targeted lately over the games. And this is going to be a shootout game, possibly. The Chargers have changed their offense to a full-blown pass attack since the bye. They didn't even have over 30 pass attempts in the first couple games of the season, and now they're slinging it all over the place with 30 pass attempts every single game. And you have a 47.5 over-under game. If you need a plug-and-play tight end that is on your waiver wire this week, I like Will Dissly a lot this week. The Las Vegas Raiders, whose season is pretty much over, is still going to feature Brock Bowers a ton as they head into the Miami Dolphins here this week. And the Dolphins are trying to save their season at 3-6. They're going to get a 2-game homestand here versus the Las Vegas Raiders and the New England Patriots. 2 games that they should win to get them back in the hunt here. But when you're looking at Brock Bowers, I mean, they trade away Devontae Adams. You have a rookie. Rookies are never going to come off the field, garbage time or not. They're always looking for production. This guy is the tight end 2 on the year. I don't know if he's going to catch George Kittle. He needs a monster finish to do it. But you get the Miami Dolphins here, and the matchup is not great. The Dolphins rank 8th versus tight end, giving up 9.7. They rank 7th in the red zone, so top 10 in both categories. 42.9 yards allowed, which is top 10 as well. And a 0.1 touchdown. So 1 touchdown on the year they've given up. But when you're Brock Bowers, volume is king. You're going to probably have Ramsey. I know Fuller got banged up last week. We don't know if he's going to be out there. And you're going to have Ramsey on Jacoby Myers. This is going to be the focal point of this game is Brock Bowers, and you're starting him no matter what, every single game for the rest of the season, no matter what the matchup is. On to the Dolphins side, Jonnu Smith, someone I've been talking about since the beginning of the season that you should be keeping your eye on because he's going to get more involved in the offense, and he has. Over the past 4 weeks, he's had 22 fantasy points when I had him as a smash play, 6, 9, and 7. So the floor has been there. His snap share is going up from about 40% to 70% now. But I'm not going to say he's a smash start this game, even though the matchup is amazing. So the Las Vegas Raiders, they do rank 29th versus the tight end. They give up 15.2 points. They rank 31st in the red zone, which is second last, giving up 4.5. They give up 60.2 yards per possession, which is also bottom 5, and 0.6 touchdowns. So every other game, they're allowing a touchdown to the tight end position. I just have this gut feeling, like you can start him if you need to. I'm not against the sit in any way. But I just have this gut feeling this is going to be a Tyreek Hill get-right game, Jalen Waddle game here, and an H-N game here. And you can start John if you need to because the matchup is absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to say put him in yellow because I think the superstars are going to shine in this game, and the Dolphins are at home, and they're going to get back on track with 2 straight wins here. Oh, man, the game of the week. The Buffalo Bills are hosting the Kansas City Chiefs, 9-0. Can they break the undefeated record that the Chiefs are having here? So when I'm looking at Travis Kelce, you're starting this guy no matter what the matchup is. I don't care if they're going up against the number 1 for Houston Texans defense that's number 1 versus the tight end. You're starting him no matter what. The Buffalo Bills do rank 12th versus the tight end. They are giving up 10.6 points. They rank 11th in the red zone. They give up 44.9 points, which is middle of the tier, and 1 touchdown on the season. So it is going to be a tough matchup, but that does not matter to me when you have all the injuries that they've sustained at wide receiver. Of course, they add the DeAndre Hopkins addition, but look at the targets he's gotten since week 8 against the Raiders. 12 targets, 16 targets, 12 targets. 23 straight 20-point games for this guy. You are starting him against every single team you play against. It does not matter. Now, on to the Bills side. This is going to be interesting. You got to pay attention here. So, Dalton Kincaid, if he is out there, this matchup, guys, is absolutely beautiful. The Kansas City Chiefs rank dead last, 32nd versus the tight end, giving up 16.4 points. They do rank 14th in the red zone, so they stingy up there because they have a good front 7, like I talked about before in the video. When you have a good front 7, usually your numbers get stronger in the red zone where the field shrinks in. So they also give up 77.6 yards to the tight end position on the season. Dead last. Now, he did bang his knee up last week, only played 20% of the snaps. The injury happened early. He tried to come back in the game, but the Bills had him blown out, so they didn't want to risk it, right? Is he going to be out there this game with a bye next week? That's going to be to be determined. So make sure you're paying attention to the injury updates. So if he is not out there, I'm okay even starting Dawson Knox. So Dawson Knox filled in last week and got 40 yards as well. And now you have a matchup that is the best matchup you can get for a tight end on the season. I mean, so again, pay attention. If Kincaid is out, I'm okay starting Dawson Knox. Of course, if Kincaid is out there, I'm not starting Dawson Knox, right? But it will be an absolute great DFS play if Dalton Kincaid is out there for Dawson Knox. He will be so cheap and absolute money. And you're starting all these tight ends in this game. But remember, pay attention to the Kincaid injury updates throughout the week. The interesting game of the week to me here on both sides. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are headed into the Detroit Lions, led by Mac Jones. So we know that Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be out there when the bye comes next week. So that's a smart play by them. But we also know that, man, it's terrible with Mac Jones out there. We saw it last week. But still, I'm going to ride Evan Ingram as a startable tight end this week, and I'm throwing all the matchups out the window because volume is king. And the Detroit Lions guys are very good versus tight end. They are number 2 on the season. They allow 7.6 points. They're number 2 on the total points on the season, and they're number 6 in the red zone with 1.4 points allowed and 34.7 yards only allowed to the tight end position on the season, which is second most in the NFL, and only 1 touchdown allowed all year long. Now, when you have the injuries they've sustained, you have BTJ out there as well. He's been banged up. He's going to play, it looks like, in this game. You're probably going to be down by 20 plus points in this game versus a very powerful Detroit Lions offense. And even if you're behind, volume is king. He might get garbage time points. That's why I'm okay with the start for Evan Ingram. Besides that, I do not like this matchup for the Jags at all. Now, on the Lions side, we're going to talk about the same thing. The matchup here is beautiful. So this is like my flip-flop game right here. The Jacksonville Jaguars are one of my fantasy football pot of gold teams. They rank 26 versus tight end. They give up 14.4 points. They rank 26 in the red zone, giving up 3.6 and 61 yards, which is bottom 5 there as well, and a touchdown every other game to the tight end. But do I like Sam Laporta banged up in a game where I think the Lions can just pound them and the game script is going to be very bad and you see a lot of Montgomery and a lot of Gibbs in this game? I really don't like Laporta in this game. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm benching Sam Laporta this week just based on you're going up against Mac Jones and a depleted Jaguars team where you're not really going to need Sam Laporta in this game. And he's banged up. So these are things you have to look at when you're doing fantasy football, and I'm honestly sitting Sam Laporta, and I would start Will Dissly over him. One of the best rivalries in NFL history is here in a monster game for the Chicago Bears. So the Bears are going to be hosting the Green Bay Packers coming fresh off their bye this week. Now, when I'm looking at the Green Bay Packers tight end, you are starting with confidence Tucker Kraft this week. Luke Musgrave has become irrelevant. Now, the Chicago Bears defense, like I talked about before, is one of my favorite defenses. They are still missing Jaquan Brisker. He will not be out there this week. It's been a crazy concussion for him. He's missed like 5 games straight. When he comes back, this defense will be back to full health. They've been banged up all year and still grinding. So they rank 20th versus the tight end, giving up 11.7. They rank 16th in the red zone, giving up 2.4. 57.7 yards allowed, which is bottom 10, and only 1 touchdown on the year because this is a very good defense. But this is their weak spot. This is what I talk about. They are very good versus the run, very good versus the wide receiver. They struggle versus the tight end. Jalen Johnson usually locks up the wide receiver 1. So that's why passes funnel to the middle against the Bears. Now, on to the Bears side. New coaching scheme change. They got Shane Waldron out. Now Thomas Brown is in. Is this going to help the Chicago Bears? Yes. We talked about this during streams beginning of the season, that Shane Waldron is going to be a problem for the Chicago Bears. And I don't know why the hell they hired him as offensive coordinator. But when I'm looking at Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett here, do I want to trust them in their first game back first game with a new OC? No, I do not. And Cole Kmet is always going to deal with 3 wide receivers, volume share, and DeAndre Swift's a pass catching back as well. So you got Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, who are probably going to be more involved now with the new OC. And he's probably going to be the 4th or 5th option. The matchup is still good, though. The Green Bay Packers ranked 23rd versus tight end, giving up 13.3. They ranked 20th in the red zone, giving up 2.8 and 56 yards, which is bottom 15, and a 0.3 chance for a touchdown. So could Cole Kmet pop one? And yes, do I want to take the risk with the volume share that he is getting? No, I do not. But man, he's out there at a 93% snap rate, so the opportunity is still there. I just don't trust it in this game with a new offensive coordinator. Hey. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of the episode. That is my week 11 tight end, stardom, sit-em, every single matchup, guys. Before we head out, again, make sure you smash that thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscription button. Turn that bell on. The support you guys have shown me has been absolutely amazing. I will be live for 2 hours today before the kickoff, going over every single question you guys want, looking at some drafters drafts, doing some splashes, stuff like that. And if you guys want to check out any of my other videos, all my rankings are out. I'm going to try and get you my quarterback stardom sit-em today and probably my running back wide receivers tomorrow. I will probably miss the Thursday night game for running backs, wide receivers, but I will drop that and pin that in the comments as well, guys. And that's it for me, guys. Hope to catch you guys in the next episode. SleezBall out.